that you messing with. You need to
First of
learn
all,
to
lower your
respect
voice.
me.
First of
I
all,
am your
lower your
wife.
voice to me.
I am your wife.
I
You
paid
need
the
to
bills
learn
in
to
this
respect
house.
me.
You
But you're
know-
not giving me. You giving
Look,
all
when I
the
pay
money.
the bills
You
in this
giving
house, you
all
do
the
what I
money
tell
to
you
them
to do.
young girls. You giving all the money to them
Don't
young
you
girls.
worry what I
You're
do
not
with
giving me
outside of this
anything.
house.
I'm
I
your
have a
wife.
business
I'm
inside
your
this
wife.
house.
I
Look,
am your
don't
wife.
make me.
Handle
Don't make me
first.
do this to
I
you.
am your wife.
I'm trying to
Daniel,
look.
you disrespecting me like a.
Hello and welcome to Out of Darkness Domestic Violence Awareness Telecast. And I am your host, Robin L. Cooper, founder and CEO of the Exodus Foundation Incorporated. Today we have some very special guests. We have the cast of Battered Wife television pilot.
I think this show will show that that before that tragedy happens, that we can do something to stop this before anything bad can happen. And to answer your question, yes, personally I have been involved in that, and not to mention, I even had friends that I went to school with at West Memphis High School that I saw intentionally jump on women. So and I wasn't really cool with that. So of course I just lose contact with that. So because I also been through it myself, also with my son's mother, and even though I do regret that, but as I matured and try to be a better person, and so that's kind of like how I kind of helped to get the role. So so not trying to be all personal, but yeah, I've been through that myself, and this right here is very inspiring. I just want to showcase this. It's a great opportunity.
Okay. All right, Brittany.
Hi, Lisa.
Okay, well, I actually found out about this through Preston because I also go to university, and I had it was ironic how it happened because I am also a survivor of domestic violence, and it was ironic the time I got out of an unhealthy relationship was when I was given this opportunity, and it really still hasn't sunk in, but I'm so blessed and pleased because after I went through that, I thought, oh my goodness, this thing happens every day, all around the world, and people need to know about it because you can do something about it. So I was like, well, this role is perfect for me, and I'm happy to have it. So thank you.
Let's go back over. Let's go over to Reverend.
I found out about the part through Mr. Blair because we worked on a couple of projects together, and it was an opportunity for me to also showcase that I'm a former husband that was a controller and abusive and had order of protection and all the other stuff that could go on. And you get used to it. That's what we do. We get used to it. Not knowing that we do, and people always put you down and say, how could you do that? How could you go through that? And then you feel like, oh, this is like an everyday thing. This is something normal for you, but actually it's not nothing normal. And you shouldn't keep it in. You should go to someone or get counseling or get help, because when you keep those things inside, it doesn't just hurt you. It makes you evil towards other people.
Yes.
It makes you real evil towards other people.
I found about this show through when I did the domestic violence commercial for it, and when she was having the auditions, I had a class, and I couldn't make it to audition, so I messaged her and asked, was there any roles left, and she gave me the character of Mandy.
Okay. So also, I want to go on and speak with Eva. Eva, she came in and she auditioned, and she was just, we actually had her to audition for 2 roles. She auditioned for the role of Desiree, but she just did such a job with Christy. I'm like, okay, let's go on and cast her as Christy. So, Eva?
My name is Eva, and I am just so pleased. Thank you so much, Ms. Cooper, for allowing me to be on this project. I'm Mexican-American. Both of my mom and dad are from Mexico. Grew up in Arizona. I have family now in Arizona, California. Most of my film acting experience has been out in Hollywood, and I'm very glad to be living in Memphis and be partaking of this. And definitely, we had a very big Catholic family growing up. Times were very tough, being an immigrant's daughter. My dad drank a lot. He was a World War II veteran, and there's a huge age difference between my mom and my dad. So things got really frustrating. Things sort of sometimes got out of control. And there was definitely a lot of domestic violence between my mom and dad, and it sort of spilled over to the kids. And so I had a pretty rough childhood. I got a scar on my lip here and a scar here from some of the domestic violence that I survived as a child. Now that, thank God, is all behind us. And I'm glad I can be playing Christy, because the church as a whole, they don't offer too much outreach and help. I've noticed with women and men that are in abusive situations, and with men too, you know, it's like an embarrassing thing. They're looked down as inferior if they say something about it. You know, society will make fun of them, etc.
Yes.
And the other thing about my character Christy is that because of the abuse, because of, you know, the sick things that her husband makes her do sexually, she finds herself being attracted to a woman. And that is a very challenging role for me, but I embrace it because that's, once again, something that's taboo in the church. We don't talk about it, you know, and so I'm just really enjoying this role. It's challenging. And as far as the project goes, I thank God for being part of this project, because people need to be aware, and especially Christians, we need to be aware and try to help one another and be there for each other and talk about it, because sometimes things are swept under the rug, especially if, like, you're a preacher's wife or in the choir or serving the Lord or a Sunday school teacher. Even if you're just a church goer, you don't want people to know your business. You know, you want everybody to think, oh, praise the Lord, hallelujah, filled with the Holy Ghost. I'm going to pray in the Spirit, and all of a sudden everything in my life is going to be fine. And it's not. People need counseling. People need help.
Exactly.
So I am very pleased that I too was at the shooting for the domestic violence commercial, and I believe that's how you got my name, because the next thing I know is I got a phone call from Ms. Cooper. So I was like, okay, great, sounds wonderful.
So also we have Lucius, and we want him to, he told me a little bit about some of his things he's gone through, so give him an opportunity to talk about them as well.
Okay, well, I found out about this through a mutual Facebook friend. And truthfully, I don't want to sound spiritual or nothing, but I really do think God put this part on me, because I didn't know Miss Cooper, and the person that had it on their Facebook, you know, I saw Battered Wives, and it hit home right away, because this has been a touchy subject for me for years, and you know, it's a disease, it's a problem, you know, it's something that it's a shame that we wait to talk about it when we're adults like this. But this is actually a problem that goes all the way back to children ages 3 and up. You know, I don't know how children see, you know, I was 3 years old the last time I can remember seeing my father hit my mother. But this was after my mother had hit him so many times. So I was a witness to that as a child. So along the way, I don't think, you know, if a child, a man or a woman, if a young man is not taught how to love a woman, or the woman is not taught how to receive that love, you know, I think it becomes a problem, you know, right away, you know, to where women don't know what to do when they become in an abusive relationship, or when the man starts abusing, he's really not taught to not do that. You know, I won't say he doesn't know any better, but it's something inside of a man. It's a problem. It's a disease, and we need to help young people at a young age to understand this, along with sexual education. You know, add domestic violence in there to teach them who to run to, who to get help from. You know, because like I said, it's a real problem, and I've been in a relationship, a few relationships, where I was the abusee, and I was the abuser mentally, and I've grabbed onto women and tried to make them understand what I was trying to say at the time, you know, to where I had to have an out-of-body experience to look at myself. And I was everything that I despised, you know, throughout life, and the way I look at men and how that's supposed to be. So, you know, it hit home, and I had to reach out and try to get involved because I want to show young men everything that I was and everything that they shouldn't be. You know, I want to show young men that this is not the correct way, you know.
Exactly.
So I had to reach out, and when I got in touch with Ms. Cooper, it was through an inbox, and thank God she got back with me, you know, and she looked over my pictures and said that I look like Daniel. So I guess, you know, when she said I look like Daniel, I was like, I was Daniel.
I think what I really want to come out of this project is awareness.
Yes.
Awareness. People need to know that they're not stuck, that they can get out of those relationships and eventually find someone who is going to treat them well. As in my situation growing up, I did not have good role models at all, but I thank God I have a wonderful, caring, strong husband.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't yell at each other. We always try to be kind to each other, and we're trying to raise our daughter correctly with not just the fear of God in her, but also that she knows that Mommy and Daddy love each other and respect each other. We respect each other as people. We don't shove, we don't push, we don't talk down to each other. Because a lot of couples will be like, my family life is great, we don't beat each other up. They're constantly, you know, tearing each other down, and that's emotional abuse, and that's something else that needs to come out. Is even, you know, domestic violence also means abuse where they're always putting each other down, always cutting each other control, taking their money, not letting them work. I mean, just different types of control like that's abuse too.
Brittany, how do you define domestic violence?
Anything, whether it be emotional, sexual, verbal, physical, that hurts somebody, whether you mean it intentionally or not, or whether you're receiving that you have to, it's that vibe, that gut feeling that you know something's not right, no matter what you believe in, if you believe in anything, that it is very real, and that the denial has to stop, and that if you really believe in it, you have got to be strong, and that and there's a big misconception that people who are weak, most of the time it's because they've been strong for too long. And that when you come out of that, like for me personally, this is a healing process, and I think that goes for everybody in here. We are all dealing with something, or we can see this, or have had a past, or seen other people hurt. That I think the big purpose for all of us here, no matter what that personal is, whether it's personal or you know, we can all do this, and that the awareness is just the beautiful thing about it, because you are brave enough and want to show everyone else that this happens, but everything's going to be okay if you receive that help. That you can do it, that you do not have to be afraid.
Exactly.
You do not have to be afraid.
Exactly. James.
And one thing I do want to come out this show is that, but the exciting thing is that every character has a different situation that everybody deal with on a regular basis, and that's the exposure, the exploitation of it, and you know, and like I said, for some reason domestic violence do not get taken seriously for some reason, and it's like it can end up like into a tragedy, like somebody can be killed.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right.
you got a situation that can pull out a gun, knife, and just cutthroat. You know,
Exactly.
so.
And speaking of which, you know, when you said someone can be killed, we have a group page as well called Battered Wives for the cast and crew on Facebook. And when Karen Thomas, when she was murdered back here a few weeks ago, James, he was like, we should dedicate this show to Karen. So not only are we dedicating this show, Battered Wives, to Karen Thomas, the family of, we're also dedicating it to all the victims who did not make it out.
Yes.
Taffy Crawford, Brittany and Ed Davis. We want to just bring awareness and just, you know, let the families know that we sincerely care. We are aware of your hurt, and we want to just, you know, just do whatever we can. So we have a very diverse cast. We have Hispanic.
Yes.
We have Hispanic. We have African Americans. We have Caucasians. We have Hispanic. So I want everybody in all different age groups. So I would like for everybody to get from this that domestic violence knows no race, no color, no age. So it can hit anybody, you know, Christian, Muslim, anybody, Catholic or anybody. So I just want to bring awareness to that. It knows no person. It can hit anybody. It is one of the most unprejudiced things you have. I mean, as she said, religion, race, sex, gender, sexual orientation, that does not matter. A victim of domestic violence is a victim. So we want to make sure that we bring the awareness. They are not at fault for anything that someone else does to them. So we want to be very cognizant of that very, very important fact. So
we want to make the point of that this is just not an issue where it's just women being abused as well. Because like I said, I was in a couple of relationships where I was getting abused, you know, and I felt like, you know, let me just take this because I'm a man, you know. She called me all kind of names and hitting on me, you know, I'm not supposed to hit her back because I'm a man. So I put up with that for years, you know. So it's a thing where men don't even realize because we so strong that she's really abusing me mentally, you know. If she's putting her hands on you, she's abusing you, you know, to where, like I said, that can affect a man, a weak man, to go into another relationship feeling like he has to take control of this, and then he's domestically violent against the next woman. So it has to be, you know, brought up about the men getting abused as well, you know. I believe it is more women getting abused, but it is a few men that.
And I think more so, it's not so, it may not be so much that it's more women that are being abused. I want to pose the question that women are more susceptible to report it versus a man reporting, because, you know, the ego thing, you know, you don't want your boys to know that, you know, you get slapped upside the head. So, you know, I mean, it's understandable as to why men are less likely to report it. So we want to encourage the men, if your girlfriend, your wife, or just a friend of yours is abusing you in any form, if she's cussing you out, if she's getting in your face, talking to you like you're a little boy, you know, you probably want to look into it and, you know, get some help, get out. And the Exodus Foundation, we do provide that avenue as well. Not only do we cater to women, we also cater to men. We cater to anyone who is being abused. We have a hotline. That number is 901-754-5060. That's 901-754-5060, and it is at the bottom of your screen. So,
I just wanted to say this is a really big issue in this city. Just growing up in Memphis, domestic violence is just, since, you know, it's like since middle school, it's just always been around me. Like I've always seen some type of fighting, and it's always been encouraged.
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
And unfortunately, it is encouraged, and it's, a lot of people don't report it. One of the reasons they don't report it is because they say, it's not my business. No, that ain't my business. You know, hey, you know, she's going to go back anyway. Or, you know, oh, he's a man. You know, he can handle it. But if you see someone who are being physically assaulted, we encourage you to please dial 911, because until everyone cares, no one is safe. Domestic violence, it is your business.
Yes, it is. Oh, good.
With issues like domestic violence, it is very easy to consider the human race an evil monster, and that may be true, but that doesn't mean that it has to be.
You said that was good.
That was good.
Okay.
That was good.
Oh, well, what I want to get from this is, I never been in a situation with domestic violence. I heard people talk about it, and I can't do too much for you. You have to want to help yourself as well. That's the first key to getting out. You have to want to help yourself as well. So no matter how many times I call for you, you have to speak up for yourself.
Exactly.
And I just hope if when they watch this or experience this, they can see there is a way out, and that you can go out, and there are people here to help you once you get out to help protect you.
Yes.
Because it's mostly fear. Like,
It
without
really
me,
is.
I'm gonna follow you, I'm gonna get you, they scared, and that's all it is, but it's people out there, and I just hope that they know that they can get out.
Exactly. And just to, piggyback a little bit on what she said, I can dial 911 all day long. But until you make that phone call for yourself, or until you decide that you are ready to get out, there's not a whole lot we can do. But please understand, when you are ready, we are here to assist you in whatever manner you need. So don't stay in a situation just because, of finances. Don't stay there just because, that's what the church say you should do.
Yes.
Don't stay there just because, you're scared that your children going to be without a dad, because it's better for them to be without a dad who's abusing their mother, or in the case where, the father is the victim, than to see that and be raised in a household, and that would just really destroy them for the rest of their lives. So they're more susceptible then of becoming victims or becoming abusers. So get your children out. Don't stay there because of your children. They are the best reason to leave. With Kelsey being our youngest cast member, and also just reflecting back when I was her age and going through the things that I was going through, I just want to ask Kelsey, and I don't know if you read my book or not, but I'll make sure you get a copy of it. But if you're ever in a situation like that, do you have a plan of action?
I would leave the situation. I wouldn't tolerate it. I wouldn't put up with it.
That person has to be ready and want to get out of that relationship, because believe it or not, it's some people that are in relationships that they love that, that they want, that's what they want to do. They actually don't.
Do you think they love it though?
I mean, I don't think they love it. I just think
Do you
they
even
don't
think they
know.
like it?
I don't think they even know any better.
Okay,
Some
because
people
see,
will-
I always debate about that. Because you know how you have some people say, she must like in her head bust. No, I totally disagree with
No,
that.
I think sometimes like the lady be attracted to certain things that she feel like she can't get anything else, and that's what she wants right
So
there.
is it,
So
but do
wants
she
be
want to
there.
be abused?
No, she just wants to be in that relationship with that man.
But why?
And it's a problem that she can't get out.
What about those?
It could be finance.
Those are movies.
What about those that do it for self-punishment? They feel like they've done something in their past, and they're like, okay, I don't
Like such
deserve
thing as
this.
money.
I mean, I don't deserve this good thing, so I'm just gonna accept the wrong that's gonna come for me and just embrace it.
Well, what I think is so much that, when they get into a healthy relationship, they are so used to being in an abusive relationship, they don't know how to accept a healthy relationship. But I still argue the fact, being a survivor, 3-time survivor of abuse, I still say, how can you like somebody busting your head with a lamp?
Right.
I mean, really, does that even make sense that this feel good? That does not feel good. Your self-esteem, of course, is low.
Right.
So then you may get to the point where you feel like you can't get any better because this is what you've been told. But once again, I still have to argue the fact, no one want to be abused. I argue that to the
I
utmost.
agree. No, you're right about that, but the truth is, like I said, some women get into relationships later, and that's all they know too. When they see their parents or their lady cousins going through this, they feel like it for a while. And like I said, they want to be there until it hits them or somebody comes to them and help them and inform them that this is not the way what you're supposed to be going through.
Right.
This is not the way it is. But until then, it's, that relationship just goes and goes. It's unhealthy,
It goes and goes
It's
on.
like a kidnap victim.
Denial and acceptance.
Kidnap victims, they sometimes love their kidnappers, their
Right,
abductors.
right.
That's all they know.
Mhm.
And then when they get back, they're like, no, I want to go back with my person who took me, but it's
that's all they
mental.
know.
That's all.
It's
Yeah, it is.
mental,
So
so
it's an
they don't
everyday
know
version
about
of
it.
Stockholm
Well,
syndrome.
exactly, and I agree with you on that, Preston. That's just like in the case of back in the 70s, when she was abused. And then the things that she ended up doing, and it was like she wanted to be with this person. But once again, that's the mental effects of domestic violence, because as Christy said, I'm accustomed to this. It's not that I want to be in this form of a relationship. I just simply want him or her to change. In some kind of way, I feel as though they're gonna change. That's what we're always hoping. For anyone that's sitting at this table here or any of our studio audience, that's what we're always hoping, that this person will change. Am I right about it?
Yes,
But
ma'am.
it's not gonna happen.
And it's not gonna happen.
Until you
Plain
get
and
some-
You can't change
It
them.
can.
They have to want to change
Right.
themselves.
Right.
And I want
No.
to, yeah.
But can they change?
Yes.
No.
Yes, they can.
Yes, they
Okay,
can.
so we got a debate.
Yes,
Okay.
It just depends though. If they really want to change,
That's-
and they would have to get help changing.
Right.
You know, if you got that instilled in you, I'm an abusing man, I'm abusing, and I gotta take control, I gotta bash this woman head in, you need some help. So it's up to you, and you know, I'm a little religious, you need God's help.
Yeah.
So if
And
you actually wanna change,
and
so.
sometimes these men that be really cocky with it.
And then sometimes
Well, yeah.
it comes from alcohol or drugs, and that can lead you to abuse.
But
Exactly.
the reason
happens
I
all the
said
time.
no, that most abusers are just gonna go out and do it again, and I say most, and I'm not trying to say everybody, but statistically, it's been proven through the prison system, et cetera, that once, you know, somebody is violent, and like, let's say they beat their kids, or they beat their wife, or they beat their husband, when somebody has that appetite for violence, it really does take a miracle of God to change their hearts, and a lot of therapy and possibly medication, et cetera. And the reason I said no is because there are people living with an abusive spouse right now. They're on their knees praying to God, please change him, please change her, you know, and they're battered. They've got bruises all over them. No, you're not gonna change them. You're not gonna change that abuser. You need to leave. That's why I said, no, you are not gonna change them, no matter how much you love them, no matter how much you pray for them, no matter, you know, whatever you do. You're not gonna change their appetite for violence unless that person themselves wants
That
to
person
change.
has to-
You're gonna have to carry that weight with you if you don't try to get help, whether you are a victim or one that's being victimized. You're gonna carry that weight with you, and it's a healing process. If you get help, you have to wanna go through that, but if you don't, other people, if they go to another person, say you got an abuser and they're gonna abuse somebody else, and you know that you can probably prevent that, you need to try to stick up for it, because there's women all over the world and men that need somebody to speak up, one little voice.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank my guests for taking the time out of their schedule to come out and help me out with this project here. I also want to thank my studio audience. Until next time, you have been watching Out of Darkness.
Look, do you think I care about anything that you're talking about? I have money. I do everything that I'm supposed to do. I give you money. I took you up and I brought you up. So why are you getting in my face about anything?
Daniel, you haven't given me any money in 3 months. But these little girls that you coding, they walking around here
See,
with
that's
new
your problem.
purses,
See, that's your
new
problem.
shoes,
See, that's
new
your problem.
phones,
You're worried
new
about
everything.
me, and we're not
you
even
got
together
one of them
anymore.
on a new apartment.
Who
We
cares?
are separated.
Who cares?
But I
I'm
am
telling
still
you,
your
that's
wife.
your problem.
I'm
That's
still
the reason why I
your
should go
wife.
upside your head right now.